composing gloves here, and this is the next update of the Sound and Synth Basics book. Major things that happened with this update. First, I went through the entire book and fixed probably 1,000+ typos. I just fixed typos all over the place, ton of improvements. A lot of this is responsible for the fact that I moved from Google Docs to Word, which I'm not going to get into here, but I wish I'd done this way sooner. And so their editor is just way better. They're much better at catching mistakes and condensing words, which I got rid of a ton of just sentences that were not necessary. So corrected a ton of mistakes, and I also rewrote entire sections. I reread every single chapter, critically considered how things were written, and improved them. Some of them were massively improved. I removed large pieces of text that I think just didn't really help or make the point as clear, and replaced them with much better, often much shorter explanations that just got a lot more to the point a lot faster. So that happened. Some of these were very, very large changes to some sections. For example, the appendix on units has had a major overhaul. It is, at least on some of them, not on all of them. So some of them have just been majorly improved. Appendix A, also the one that explains frequency, has been improved. Found some things that I wanted to change in the dB chapter. That has been improved. Every single chapter has had changes, and I've corrected as many typos as I could find. Tried to delete every single thing that I could find that was just a typo of some sort, or written in a way that was just not as good as it could be. So entire book update took forever, but it's finally done, and I feel confident that I can add more chapters now to this, and I feel good about where it's at currently. But if you find them, please let me know. I'll update them and update the book as it goes. So there's that. So that's the first major update. Next major update, acoustics chapter is now a thing. So on lesson 17, this bad boy is the acoustics chapter. When I wrote this, I said, okay, what do you need to know about acoustics? Because I'm not writing this here to make you a professional in the subject. You just need to be familiar enough that when you make your studio, you know some do's and don'ts and how to do some basic treatment to your room. So there's a couple big terms that you need to be familiar with. So big acoustic terms. And these 6. You should know what they are, how they work, and what they do. And as you learn about them, I explain why and how you can use them to treat your room. So, with reflections and stuff, first order reflections, what are those? All those kinds of things. We build up the basic notion of standing waves. And then from there, we get into other terms, specifically modal resonances, sympathetic resonances, things like that you're going to want to consider as you move forward. One of the benefits of moving to Word was I went through and I redid how I format the pages. So a lot of the formatting has been improved dramatically. And there's also a lot of links to people who know they do work professionally in the field, and you can see for yourself from an expert how they talk about it and what they say. So you don't have to get it just from me. There's a lot of other places. I do put in a few words of warning for a couple sketchy YouTube videos that are extremely popular, because I think they're good learning opportunities, because it's really easy to misunderstand what you're measuring and why you would want that thing and how it can lead you to wrong conclusions. So I do include 1 or 2 of those. So there's a lot more than I wish there was. And on YouTube, that's just straight wrong, but I think that's true for just about everything. So I cover 1 or 2 of those and give you some examples of what you should actually be doing. But yeah, that is the acoustics chapter. So along with all of this, you will notice with the improved formatting, I decided I wanted to have a glossary that included words that I think really warranted just having a spot back there when you're looking up what is this, because I get frustrated when I'm reading something and I'm like, what was that again? And then there's no glossary, so I can quickly find it. I include those here. So they are the bolded green. If they're bolded black, that either means that they are there for emphasis. Usually I use italics. It depends on what I'm doing. Otherwise, if they're bolded black, it's generally a definition of some kind, but I didn't want to put it in the glossary. So that's what's going on here. And so, yeah, this took a lot more effort than I realized, because I had to go through the whole book and do this. But all the terms I pretty much want back here are back here. And yeah, it's a this project took me about a year to go from the last update to this one. I think it's improved by 8 or 9 times. That's how much better I think the book in general is. So if you've got the older one and you think, oh, it's just a new acoustics chapter, it is not. There are significant updates to a lot of stuff. Don't read that book anymore. Read this one. This is way better. I've poured, I don't even know how many hours. I get really into it. So when I go on breaks, I'll be editing from morning until evening sometimes. I just get really into writing. It's just kind of my style. And when I write, I generally just come up with an outline. I then put down tons of thoughts, what I think readers would want to know, what is necessary for the topic, all those kinds of things. And then I go through and write all of it out as an outline. Then I read it. Then I have someone else read it, another person read it. Then I go through and read it again and fix things. And it just goes over and over and over. By the time I finish a chapter, I've usually read it about 30, 40 times, especially on the technical stuff. Like the DB chapter took a long time because there's just a lot of the questions on the back. I wanted to make 10,000% sure that I was okay with all the questions I had there and that they're all right. I can't even imagine writing a math book. It's got to be a disaster because even if you know the topic really well, there's still that chance that you make a small mistake, and it stinks to make mistakes. It's no fun having to learn that way. I'd much rather be a preventative learner. So anyways, that's this. Extremely excited about it. Hope you enjoy. It is a completely free book. I always get emails about this. Totally free book. I do appreciate donations. So when you go on, it's going to say like, oh, pay what you want thing. Like it'd say pay for what you want. So if you want to donate, you can, but this is a completely free educational book. I hate the fact that I'm a full-time student and I have to pay so much for textbooks. I now understand the amount of effort that goes into them, and like I value them. So for certain books I will pay for, but there are other books that classes require that I'm just like, why? We don't need. Oh, it's frustrating. So this is totally free. I really just want to help people as much as possible. It's just a subject I'm extremely passionate about. And so I hope you enjoy, subscribe, and have a blessed day.